we will spend a few minutes talking Warriors, which we haven't done so in several weeks because there's just been not a lot to talk about. What is the latest? What is your do you think this Jonathan Kuminga holdout, or not holdout, but just him holding his contract situation, holding the team hostage in a sense of being unable to make any sort of moves whatsoever because they have to kind of wait until this thing is done. If he comes back to the team, do you think the fan base is going to welcome him, or is he going to kind of get a little bit of heat from the fan base?
I mean, the Twitter fan base is completely different than the ones that show up to the games. That of course there's some overlap, but I don't know how many people actually go into the games are like. Yeah, I think he'll be welcomed. I think if anything, winning solves all. So they start to go on a run, and then it doesn't matter. But I think, like you said, we haven't done much Warriors stuff because there hasn't been much news. I would argue that there's still not much news, and there's probably
Still
no
not.
reason to do this segment because there's not much news, other than the fact that maybe some promises to sign with the Warriors have surfaced from some players we expected, and then maybe one player we didn't expect.
Who
I don't
was
know if
the
you saw
one
that one.
player that you didn't expect?
Brogdon.
Okay. No, we're on the same page. So Al Horford is the player who the Warriors are rumored to be bringing in once this Kuminga thing has settled. He fits perfect for what they want to do, though. The 5 years ago, Al Horford would be like a tremendous player for the Warriors. He's kind of like the dream player for the Warriors. The other players are their own players. Somebody like Gary Payton, like I think his situation is holding out because of the Kuminga thing too. And then you mentioned Malcolm Brogdon. Now the Warriors, DeAnthony Melton is still rumored to kind of be in the mix. They with Brogdon, that is kind of more of a true point guard. So maybe we don't get so many spastic Pajimski scenarios there, but I don't know. It's an interesting one. I wouldn't have thought Brogdon, just the style that they play. He's often hurt as well, and he's older, which I guess fits the roster because they're all older. But at the same time, when you have Butler and Steph's contract, you don't really have a lot of opportunity to pick up some of the mid-tier guys. You kind of have to lean towards these lower, riskier vets who just you don't know what you're going to get. Well, actually, I would say you know what you're going to get if they can stay healthy, but you also know what they don't do well because they are older. So maybe they're a little predictable, but I don't know. Brogdon wasn't one that I would have thought that would have initially fit. It's I guess it's CP3 ish a little bit. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Brogdon?
I mean, you don't know what Brogdon you're getting, but I think when the Celtics traded him to Portland for Drew, I think it was, he got to kind of do the thing where it's like, hey man, you're on a bad team that's rebuilding. You can like take it easy. And then I think he got traded to Washington at the deadline last year or something like that. So you hope that you get like a Brogdon that's gotten to rest and is healthy and is like, finally, I'm on a good team that wants to win again. Like, here we go. But I think fit wise, I'm actually pretty excited about it. Like I think him and the Pajensky minutes would do really well. You could see him starting some games with Steph. Like he could play defense. So you want to put that type of player with Steph. He's of course a vet now, and then Steve Kerr does well with vets. So not much on the number digging side, just because it just feels like I don't know what kind of Brogdon we're getting. It's been some weird years for him, but I think when we talk about my only worry about this offseason is that the Warriors and their light years thing, like these feel like the obvious selections to be on the team to me, like Horford, Brogdon, DeAnthony, where we talk about that championship season. And I always remember that offseason because they were rumored to get Batum and Patty Mills. Those were like the obvious perfect fits that I think the entire fan base was like, I really hope this happens. And it didn't happen. and instead they get GP2 and Otto Porter Jr.
You mean this guy?
Ends up being, oh my God, you still have that. Like what the better ends up being they won a championship. Otto Porter had very big games, very big moments in the regular season and the championship. Like that was the better option. And I just wonder, like, I didn't like they was there another one of those like kind of not unexpected Warriors signings just because this is the Patty Mills and Batum in my opinion, getting Al
Mhm.
Horford and Brock and Melton. So I don't know. I think to me, like, yeah, you put a five that can shoot, that is defensive minded, sure, very old in Al Horford, but we were hoping for Vucevic, but that guy can't defend at all. Horford,
Mm-mm.
it just seems like a fit, like a glove. Of course, like you want a
We
Horford
got
that's
it. We
not.
got a young Vucevic. His name is Quentin Post.
That guy can't help Violet make a layup. I don't know. He can't even help himself make a layup. Um, but yeah, I think on paper, and I think just when I think about who Steve Kerr is as a coach, like I think these are great options. I think
Yeah.
and I know it's not as sexy as like Kuminga for Kobe White or Kuminga for you name it, kind of nearing all-star caliber player. But you think about how this team ended the season, hell of a run. They beat the 2 seed like they did a couple years ago.
Mhm.
And you do have a what if moment that if Steph doesn't go down, are they playing OKC in the Western Conference Finals?
Mhm.
And then we also liked OKC in the years past, even as good as they've been. The Warriors have been able to just like kind of not let them do what they want to do. So I don't know. I just think about that they played so well to end the season, and they did it all without Jonathan Kuminga. So just adding some pieces here and there. They didn't lose anyone too important that I can think of, right? Like I think their entire rotation is, who'd they lose?
I don't think they've lost. Well, I mean, the one that they were going to lose was GP. That was the rumored. Oh, Kevon Looney. They lost Kevon Looney.
Loon. Okay, correct. But I guess Loon kind of wasn't, like he said in the podcast with Plus Minus, that he wasn't even really in the playoff rotation. He said like, oh, Steven Adams, like this is where I shine, and they still wouldn't like go to him as like a permanent option in the rotation. So like they didn't really lose anyone from their permanent playoff rotation, and all they did is add. So although it might not be, the all-star player, like I still like the additions, and I wasn't expecting anything too crazy. And maybe Dunleavy has another good swing in the trade deadline, but I think you've got to be kind of excited as a Warriors fan. I think the only thing that you're kind of worried about is like, yeah, like they were good last year, but last year's teams aren't this year's teams. You look
Mhm.
at Houston and literally like what, like if they had one thing, what if they had one thing to beat the Warriors, like who's your dream player to add? And then like KD's probably like top three there. If they have KD, I don't think we beat them. They needed
Mhm.
half court scoring. You take out Jalen Green and put in KD, I don't think we beat them. But other than that, like I don't know, just another year of OKC
Yeah,
being
OKC
great.
is gonna get better. OKC is gonna have to make some decisions down the line too, though, with their roster.
Yeah, I'd say
But
Denver leveled up.
they Denver leveled up. And OKC is drafted well, so you would think that they could slide in guys. It doesn't always work like that, but um, all right. Do you hope that the LeBron stuff goes away, or do you like that whenever the LeBron stuff is discussed, the Warriors are always at the top of the list of possibilities for LeBron to come on the team?
I Dude, what LeBron noise have you heard? I haven't heard anything.
So, I mean, it hasn't been of late, but it's just like the the way that you could trade for LeBron is if you have a contract that matches his contract, right? Like that's how the NBA trades work. And because the Warriors have this Jimmy contract, like they're always going to be rumored as one of the few teams who could actually make a deal for LeBron. Now, the only reason I say this is because Draymond and Steph seem to always be hanging out with this dude or talking about this dude or bigging up this dude. And I don't know. I mean, at this point, I think I'd rather have this version of Jimmy. But when you watch LeBron on his good days, you're like, oh man, he's still really good, and he
Mhm.
could really fit you know what the problem with the LeBron stuff is though? He and Draymond probably can't play together at the same time that well, unless Draymond just has to play five, and maybe that is it. But I just find it interesting that every time the LeBron stuff happens, the Warriors are like right there. Like, you'll also hear Miami and Cleveland just because of his past. But it's like, I wonder if the Warriors like being in there. Like, I wonder if Steph and Draymond like those rumors, or if they're just like, okay, like enough, like this, just let this guy play one more year in LA and be done with it, because it's LA is clearly moving on from him with the Lucas stuff. So I don't know. I just find it entertaining, and it's probably the reason. It's probably because, like you said, there's no talk going on right now because it's the off season, and the Warriors get David Aldridge gave them incomplete on their off season because they haven't done anything yet. So, all right, last thing
I
here.
think you'd rather be I mean, I think you'd rather be in the conversations than not. Like, even like, it's like, what if you're in a bidding war and it's against like a team in the West? It's like, what if Dallas gets him? Then they jump you. Kyrie comes back, Kyrie, Braun, AD, Cooper Flag, Klay Thompson. Like, if that's the bidding war, then I think you would rather want to be in that than not. Like, if you're like Charlotte and you never hear your name in those conversations. But
I think in order to get LeBron though, Dallas would have to trade away one of those heavy contracts. Like, they couldn't have
probably, I
all of
don't. Yeah, I don't
LeBron's.
know the numbers for them. That would be crazy though if they were able to make it work.
Yeah. So last thing, and we'll get out of here. I know because you finally followed me on Letterbox the other day. I know that you've watched Freaky Tales. Freaky Tales is a movie that had come out, like, gosh, probably in the spring or something. I don't exactly remember, maybe early summer. And it was a small release. It wasn't out for very long. But the thing about Freaky Tales, it's set in 1987 in Oakland, and so there's lots of ties to Bay Area culture in that movie. And what the big point for me was, there's a storyline, a fictional storyline based around Sleepy Floyd's 29-point quarter playoff game against the Lakers, which caused them to not get swept. The Sleepy Floyd is Superman, as Greg Papa said on the broadcast in 1987. And so I watched the movie. The movie's like built for me. Like, I was catching all the little nuggets of culture and stuff from back then. Though I did catch a faulty one. In one of the scenes, they're playing a Stevie B song, high energy artist that got played a lot in the Bay Area. And they played a song from 1988 and 1987. So I caught that one. But it made me think, and because I was thinking about post championship, so post Rick Barry championship, and then they went to the finals back to back years. I don't think anybody in the chat probably saw those, but I since that time frame, I think the Sleepy Floyd is Superman game was kind of like the Warriors fans, like the closest thing to a championship. Um, and I was thinking of other moments pre Steph and pre the 2015 title. I was thinking of other moments that were kind of sort of like that, which are, yeah, they didn't win the title, but they did something that made the Bay Area fans so excited. And I thought of two other moments, and that I just wanted to shout out. If people in the comments even remember these moments, or if you have others, let us know. But like the pre Steph Curry World Championship time frame, two of those other moments. One was drafting Chris Webber, and for the 1 year that he was on the team, he and Latrell Sprewell made the Warriors cool. Tim Hardaway gets hurt before that season even starts. Had they had Tim Hardaway, they might have been even better. But really, Sprewell is all NBA. We know what happens with Sprewell only a couple years later. I I I mean, I saw Sprewell at Evergreen College. The Warriors were in San Jose for a year, and so they were practicing at Evergreen College, and me and your uncle went out there. And so there's a bus, the Warriors bus, and you got all these fans, and you see the people coming out of the gym. Somehow, Sprewell and a couple of other guys had kind of ducked out another way, so they didn't have to sign any autographs, and they were just on the bus. Dicks. Um, but uh, but so that Weber Sprewell team, like that was a cool moment. Now they got beat in the first round of the playoffs. They were not competitive. But at that point, you were like, oh my gosh, Chris Webber, Latrell Sprewell. Let's wait for Hardaway to come back. Chris Mullen is still on this roster. They may be good. And then it just falls out the next season. And then the last one, of course, is the We Believe team. Anything pre-Steph, it's those three things for me and my Warriors fandom. If you haven't seen the Sleepy Floyd is Superman game, I think it's on the NBA League Pass. Like it used to be on there. I don't know if it's still on there, but you know, when you go to certain teams and they have like the historic games, I remember that being that game being on there. And then, of course, the We Believe stuff. It's so hard to find. I think it's because it was like right before the transition from the transition to HD. So like a lot of the video quality is really bad, but you know, people remember that time frame. Um, so yeah, that's it. Warrior, not a ton going on in Warriors land, but you know, once they figure out this Jonathan Kuminga thing, and for my sake, or not even my sake, for Jonathan Kuminga's sake, I hope he gets somewhat of what he wants, because I don't think it does him any favors to be on this roster next year, because Steve Kerr is not going to play him. Like it's just not. He's not a fan of Jonathan Kuminga's game, and especially if they bring in all these vets. Is he going to play Kuminga instead of Al Harrington down the stretch of important
Al
game?
Harrington.
Al Harrington, Al Al Horford. Al Harrington was on the We Believe team. That's why I mentioned Al Harrington. But for Kuminga, I just hope that they find a nice deal to send him elsewhere. That 2 for 45 seems like that's really the only deal that's out there for him, and that's what he's holding out for. So I don't know. I don't know. It seems like if he accepts that qualifying deal, oh my gosh, he's going to be giving up a lot of money. But he hits free agency, you know, next year. So that, I guess that would be the benefit. Anyways, it's been a very interesting ride with Jonathan Kuminga every single year with Kuminga, and you know, we had our we had our Kuminga watch era from 2022. We had our Kamudi watch era from that time frame as well. And I think now it's just time that he's got to find another team for the benefit of his career, because I want to see him do well. I don't want to see him play poorly. So